This heart-wrenching love story changes everything at midnight. You won't believe the truth. The clock struck midnight, echoing through the empty streets of Maplewood. A dense fog rolled in, cloaking the town in a chilling embrace. Everyone knew something strange happened at midnight, something that whispered secrets in the shadows. And tonight it felt different. Tonight it felt electric. As if love hung in the air waiting, yearning to be unleashed. A flicker of movement caught Claire's eye, a shadow darting between the trees. She felt her heart race, a cold sweat trickling down her back. The old legends flooded her mind. It's the midnight lover, her grandmother used to say. He takes what's most treasured. But would the whispers come true tonight? Claire's phone buzzed, a message from Daniel. "Meet me at the old oak tree," it read. Why did he sound so urgent? The lump in her throat grew tight and heavy. She pushed through the thick fog, each step crunching on fallen leaves, her breath forming ghostly puffs in the cold air. With every step, the anticipation twisted in her stomach. The town's warm lights faded behind her as the darkness loomed closer, wrapping her in a shroud of mystery. Was it too late to turn back? Her feet moved on their own, driven by a pull deeper than fear. A sudden rustle snapped her from her thoughts. A figure stepped into view. Daniel stood under the oak tree, his face a mix of relief and panic. "You came," he breathed, eyes wide. But something was wrong. She could see it in the way he clenched his fists, the way shadows danced behind him. "What's going on?" Claire demanded, breathless. He glanced behind them, a flicker of fear crossing his face. "I can't explain everything now. Just trust me." His voice was urgent, raw with desperation. She wanted to hold him, to tell him everything would be okay. But the air was heavy with secrets. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The wind howled, a chorus of whispers swirling around them. Claire could feel the tension, thick and suffocating. "What are you so afraid of?" she pressed. But his expression collapsed under the weight of an unseen force. "I can't lose you," he finally whispered, his eyes darting toward the dark expanse. The air crackled with an ominous energy, making her skin prickle. A low growl echoed from the depths of the forest. It wasn't just the legend anymore, something was really coming for them. And in that moment of sheer terror, she realized this midnight rendezvous would change everything. What exactly were they up against? The answers loomed just beyond the veil, teasing them, begging to be uncovered. She grasped Daniel's hand, ready to face whatever fate awaited them. But would love be enough to shield them from the chilling truth lurking in the darkness? The ground trembled beneath their feet as the growl echoed again. Closer this time, throbbing with unseen malice. Claire's heart raced. She squeezed Daniel's hand tighter. "We need to go now." But Daniel stood frozen. His eyes were locked onto the swirling blackness of the trees, as if something within them were calling out to him. "What if we can't?" he whispered, his voice barely above the wind. She turned to pull him away, but the tendrils of fear held him captive. Suddenly, a flash of movement broke the stillness, a dark shape lunging forward, cutting through the fog like a knife. Panic surged through Claire, jolting her into action. "Run!" she screamed, dragging Daniel away from the oak tree. The shadows rose behind them, furious and alive, screeching through the chilled night air. Adrenaline coursed through Claire's veins, propelling them forward as they dashed deeper into the forest. Each snap of a twig pierced the silence, echoing like a countdown to something horrific. "Did you hear that?" Daniel gasped, glancing over his shoulder. "It's coming for us." "I know," Claire shouted, struggling to keep her breath steady. She could feel her own heart hammering against her ribs, panic threatening to swallow her whole. "We have to reach the road." They stumbled through the trees, branches clawing at their clothes, the damp earth sucking at their shoes. But the woods were relentless, trapping them in a twisted maze. The whispers grew louder, an unholy chorus blending with the rustle of the leaves, feeding the terror gripping Claire's heart. "Why did you call me here?" she shouted, desperate for clarity amidst the chaos. I thought I could protect you, Daniel admitted, his voice breaking. I never meant for any of this to happen. A guttural roar shattered the air. The ground shook as if some ancient beast had awakened, enraged and ready to unleash its fury. Protect me? From what? Claire cried, panic threatening to unravel her focus. This wasn't just a playful legend anymore. This was their reality. I thought the legend was just a story, a fairy tale, he said, stumbling over his words. But my family, they're tied to this dark force. They've been trying to hide it from me. His voice trembled, and Claire could see him fighting to suppress a floodgate of emotions. Her mind raced. She had heard whispers about the generations of Daniel's family, rumors of dark bargains made at midnight, of debts owed that summoned nightmares. What if it all had truth? An eerie silence fell, the kind that forewarned of something unspeakable. Then the demonic growl filled the void, closer than before. They were running out of time. Follow me. Daniel pulled Claire toward a narrow path that veered off into the underbrush. With no other option, she followed. It was a leap of faith. Every instinct screamed at her to flee, but there was a tether, a bond between them that felt unbreakable even in the face of terror. They pressed on, navigated the darkness together, and moved toward an uncertain fate as they barreled deeper into the woods. The moonlight barely pierced the heavy canopy. But there in the shadows a figure emerged, ethereal and haunting. A woman cloaked in mist, her eyes glimmering like distant stars. Was she a guardian or a harbinger of doom? Listen carefully, she began, her voice sweeping over them like a soft breeze. The truth is more dreadful than you can imagine. Claire fought to catch her breath, staring at the apparition before them. What truth? Who was this spectral figure? And would knowing it save them or doom them both? Only one thing was certain. The night was very far from over, and every revelation threatened to unravel the fragile threads of their lives. Trust me, Claire, Daniel murmured, but the chaos was brewing around them and doubt crept in. What lay ahead would shake the very foundation of their love, blurring the lines of reality and myth. As the tension grew, so did the sense of impending dread. And Claire couldn't help but wonder, could they truly fight the darkness that had claimed so many lives before? The moment was charged with fear, hope, and uncertainty. And just as Claire opened her mouth to respond, a chilling laugh echoed in the night, causing them both to freeze in place. What had they stumbled into? Would they face the truth, or become its next victims? The spectral woman stepped closer, her form drifting like fog over the ground. Claire's heart thundered. The dim light reflected in the woman's eyes seemed to cut through the darkness, illuminating undulating shadows that crept closer around them. What do you mean? Claire asked, forcing the words between her quivering lips. What truth? Your lives have been intertwined with forces beyond your understanding, the woman said, her voice melodic yet heavy with foreboding. You are both pawns in a game crafted by those before you. Daniel's grip tightened around Claire. She could feel the tension radiating from him, the confusion sparking behind his eyes. What does that mean for us? How do we escape this? He demanded, desperation tinging his tone. A faint smile flickered on the woman's lips, but it held no warmth. There is no escape from the past. To fight against the darkness, you must first confront the choices that tether you to it. Only then can you hope to alter your fates. A thundering roar echoed through the trees, closer now, the threat palpable. Claire shivered and all at once felt the ground shift beneath her feet, reminding her that they were running out of time. Amid the chaos, she found a glimmer of resolve. We don't want to be part of this. We just want to be safe. The ethereal figure tilted her head, a flicker of pity haunting her eyes. Safety is an illusion. You've awakened the past, and it seeks to consume you. Suddenly the darkness swarmed them, thick and suffocating. Claire felt Daniel tug her backward, instinctively looking for a means of escape, but the path they traversed vanished, swallowed by shadows that thrummed with malice. What do we do? She cried, panic surging as the trees twisted in on themselves, closing their sanctuary. Look for the roots, the spectral woman advised, moving with unnatural grace, pointing to gnarled roots bursting from the forest floor. They will guide you if you prove your worth. But tread carefully, many seek the same path, and not all will be friendly. What does that mean? Claire pressed, her mind racing. The air crackled, pulsating with energy, and the growl grew louder. Thickening the tension, Daniel pulled Claire closer. We can't stay here. Whatever's hunting us is right behind us. Listen, the woman urged, her voice rising above the chaos. The roots will not only lead you away from danger, but they will reveal the truth about your connection to this darkness. The answer may lie in an unexpected sacrifice. Just then, a creature burst from the underbrush, a beast of shadows and teeth, eyes glowing with feral hunger. Clara's heart dropped. It lunged toward them with a speed that defied logic. Run! Daniel shouted, instinctively pushing Clara ahead as the creature clamped down on the air where they just stood. They darted toward the thick knots of roots, slipping through them like branches in the wind. The creature snarled in frustration, losing its target, but its roar sent shivers down Claire's spine, as if the very night was warning her of an impending doom. In the flash of the beast's jaws, she turned back to the woman, desperation in her voice. What must we sacrifice? But the apparition was already fading, her words lost in the cacophony of the night. Only then will truth triumph over darkness. Claire and Daniel raced on, navigating not just the forest, but their own fears. Each twist and turn felt like a descent deeper into a nightmare. Claire's breath quickened. How could they fight something that had been rooted in Daniel's family for generations? As they paused to catch their breath, darkness encircled them, whispering forgotten secrets, and for a moment they met each other's gaze, understanding mingling with the uncertainty of their choices. There's something we haven't realized, Claire, Daniel said breathlessly. Something we need to confront together. In that shared silence, the dreadful revelation grew, lurking just beyond their reach. And as the growls became deafening, a question loomed in the air. When it came time to confront the truth, would their love be enough to save them, or would it become their greatest curse? The roots twisted and turned beneath them, creating a treacherous pathway that felt as alive as the darkness around it. Claire grasped Daniel's hand tightly, feeling the pulse of fear echo through their entwined fingers. Every moment felt like a ticking clock, each second dragging them closer to their fate. Stay close, Daniel urged, his breath ragged. Together they weaved through the gnarled masses, the dark, slick ground threatening to swallow them whole. The growl of the creature faded momentarily, replaced by an eerie silence that pulled at their senses. Did we lose it? Claire panted, hope threading through her panic. Daniel shook his head, eyes darting around. No, listen, and there it was again, the beast's low growl reverberating through the air, echoing from every corner. It's still out there, Claire whispered, her voice trembling. They pressed forward, the roots gripping their ankles like icy fingers, urging them back into the shadows. Suddenly one of the roots shifted, revealing an opening. A faint light glimmered ahead, illuminating a path through the darkness. It felt wrong yet compelling. What if it's a trap? Claire asked, hesitating. Daniel frowned, glancing back, fear painted on his face. We don't have a choice. We need to find a way out. With one last glance at the consuming darkness, they plunged into the opening. The air grew warmer, alive with strange energy that buzzed around them. The light transformed into something bright and warm, almost welcoming. As they stepped into the clearing, the space suddenly opened wide, revealing a clearing nestled within the thicket. In the center stood an ancient tree, its trunk thick and gnarled, roots spiraling outward and disappearing into the earth like the veins of a living entity. The tree radiated an aura. Something ancient pulsed from within. What is this place? Claire breathed, entranced by the sight. Maybe it's south, that place the woman spoke of, Daniel murmured. The roots can guide us or reveal what we need to confront. Just then, a rustling sound pulled at their attention. From the tree's shadow emerged a figure, cloaked in darkness yet radiating the same eerie light. The figure stepped forward, revealing a face eerily familiar to Clara, a face she saw in old family albums, someone she had only heard of in whispered tales around the dinner table. Claire. The voice was deep, laced with strength, but the timbre brought chills. You've come to learn the truth. She could hardly catch her breath. Who are you? He stepped closer, the light revealing sharp features and piercing eyes. I am Samuel, your great-grandfather. I've waited generations for you to finally arrive. The ground beneath her quaked, the shadows around them curling as if in response. Daniel stepped forward, protectively shielding Claire. What do you want? To set you free, Samuel replied solemnly. But first you need to know what binds you here. Why our bloodline is cursed. This can't be happening. Claire's voice trembled as she took a step back. Cursed? The darkness you feel, it's linked to choices made long ago. It hungers for more than just souls. It wants to sever your connection to each other, and the family line. What kind of sacrifice? Daniel demanded, his voice rising. What do we have to give up? Tread lightly, Samuel warned. To face the truth, you must be willing to lose what you hold most dear. A rush of fear washed over Claire. Could the sacrifice be each other? The bond they had fought to forge unnerved her. Suddenly the ground trembled, and the beast's roar echoed again, more menacing. Choose wisely, Samuel's voice faded, leaving behind an unsettling calm. Before Claire could voice her fears, the shadows surged. Something unstoppable moved through the air, closing in on them with a fearsome speed. Get ready, Daniel yelled, eyes wide with determination. But by the time Claire turned to him, a new dread stirred in her stomach, a realization. They had only just begun to confront the truths that lay ahead. As darkness threatened to consume them both, a chilling question rose in Claire's mind. Would their next move be one of love or loss? The shadows erupted, swirling around them like a living nightmare. Claire's heart raced. The very air felt thick and suffocating. The growl of the creature pierced the heavy silence, twisting her stomach in knots. Claire! Daniel's voice broke through her haze. He pulled her closer, his grip firm but trembling. Stay with me. They took evasive steps backward, inching away from the unseen terror closing in. The ancient tree, once a beacon of hope, now felt like an ominous sentinel watching their every move. Shadows flickered and danced, pulling at her sanity. Samuel! What do we do? Claire shouted, desperation lacing her voice. But the figure of her great-grandfather had vanished, leaving the clearing cloaked in an unsettling stillness. She scanned the darkness, but it was unforgiving, hiding whatever lurked just beyond the edge of light. We can't stand here, Daniel exclaimed, urgency wrapping around every word. We have to find a way to fight it. Claire's mind raced, the revelation of their possible curse swirling beneath her consciousness. But what if it needs our sacrifice? She whispered, fear creeping into her voice. We'll figure it out together, he said, determination igniting behind his terrified eyes. But Claire sensed the panic cloaked beneath his confidence as they moved farther into the clearing. The growls morphed into a cacophony of haunting whispers, echoing the warnings Samuel had given them. Each word seemed to invade the air, wrapping around Claire like a vine. Could the ancient tree hear them? Did it know their fears? Suddenly, a massive shadow burst forth from the trees, the creature's form emerging like a nightmare-made flesh. It was a grotesque amalgamation of twisted limbs, eyes peering from all angles, each one gleaming with savage hunger. Claire's breath hitched in her throat. The darkness was no longer just a feeling. It was real, and it was angry. Run! Daniel cried, ripping her from her reverie. He grabbed her hand and they sprinted across the clearing, weaving between the vast roots that sprawled across the ground like skeletal fingers reaching for them. The air grew colder, the creature's breaths heavy and menacing behind them. Claire's pulse thudded in her ears, a relentless rhythm as they plunged deeper into the shadowy labyrinth. Where are we going? She gasped, desperation lacing her voice. Daniel whipped around, fear etched into his expression. We have to find something to stop it, the roots, the tree, anything. A sudden crashing sound erupted from behind them, raw and primal, sending adrenaline coursing through Claire's veins. She dared a glance back. The creature was closer, its maw opening wide, primal instinct demanding its prey. Daniel! She screamed, tightening her grip on his hand. She could barely breathe, but something deeper than fear ignited within her, a primal resolve. We can't let it take us. We must confront this curse, whatever it is. Daniel nodded sharply, eyes locking with hers. Then we face it together. The roots twisted around them as if alive, almost as if they sensed the dread propelling them forward. Claire noticed markings along the base of the ancient tree, intricate designs that hinted at stories long forgotten. What if the answers are here? She shouted, rushing toward the tree, pulling Daniel with her. We might need to embrace the truth. The creature roared yet again, sending vibrations through the ground. They pressed up against the tree, the markings glowing faintly beneath their touch. What do we have to do? Daniel asked, a mix of dread and determination coloring his tone. Before Claire could respond, the ground beneath them began to shake violently, a crack forming at the roots. In that moment, as the creature closed in, a voice echoed in her mind, clearer and sharper than anything she had heard before. Embrace what binds you. Only then can you break the chains. Would acceptance save them, or would the truth tear them apart? As the ground split and darkness surged forward, Claire knew one thing for certain: their love would soon be put to the ultimate test. And just as the creature lunged, shadows engulfing them both, Claire whispered, "Don't let go." What would they have to endure to stand firm against the darkness? The answer lay just out of reach, sliding further into the mystery of their haunted past. The ground buckled beneath them, the roots of the ancient tree splintering and clawing toward the creature that loomed just behind. Claire's heart raced wildly as she clung to Daniel. Adrenaline surged through her. This wasn't just a fight for survival. It was a desperate grasp for understanding. "Push against it," Daniel urged, fear crackling in his voice. "Whatever it is, we need to channel it." The air thickened, twisting around them, carrying voices that whispered tantalizing secrets and haunting worries. Claire pressed her palms against the glowing markings, feeling warmth radiate from the tree, almost like it was alive and breathing along with them. Each pulse seemed to resonate with the creature's growls, an unholy melody born from darkness. "Can you feel it?" she gasped, caught between fear and hope. "It's like the tree is trying to tell us something." Daniel nodded, locking eyes with her. "Then listen." His words hung in the air, heavy and urgent as Claire concentrated. The whispers ebbed and flowed, forming an eerie harmony. It was as if the very souls of her ancestors were trying to break through, resonating with an ancient truth. She closed her eyes, letting her mind dive deeper, surrendering to the force around her. "Embrace what binds you," the voice echoed again, stronger this time. It wrapped around her, squeezing her tightly. She thought of family, of the lineage that twisted through time like the roots that entangled them. Suddenly she was flooded with images, flashes of her great-grandfather fighting the same darkness, tales of sacrifices made, the weight of a burden that had been passed down through generations. "It's not just about us," she shouted over the cacophony, her voice breaking. "It's our family, our past." Daniel's expression shifted, understanding dawning. "We have to face our history, Claire. They didn't defeat it alone. They embraced it." The ground shook violently, snapping her from her thoughts. The creature surged forward, its mouth gaping wide, displaying rows of jagged teeth that dripped with darkness. Clara's breath caught. "Together!" Daniel yelled, gripping her shoulders. "On my count. 1, 2, 3. With a fierce determination they leaned into the tree, hands entwined, pooling their fear, love and memories into a single pulse. As they pressed deeper into the glowing markings, a blinding light erupted, a shockwave that ripped through the darkness. The creature recoiled, its form reshaping in response to their power. It writhed and screamed, the sound echoing painfully in Claire's mind. At that moment, she saw it clearly: the creature was not merely a hunter. It was a twisted reflection of everything they feared, everything they had to confront. "Face it, Claire. It's us," Daniel urged, the panic thickening in his voice. "We have to acknowledge what it means to us. No fear." Tears streamed down Claire's face as memories flooded through her. Laughter among the roots, stories shared under the silver light of the moon, and the haunting lullabies of pain threaded into their family history. "Fine," she replied, her voice raw. "We accept it. We embrace it." With that declaration, the power within the tree intensified, light mingling with shadows, illuminating every inch of the clearing. Claire felt every root entwining around their feet like a protective embrace as the creature roared, a sound far more primal than before. Now a desperate howl. The ground shook violently, crack after crack splintering like thunder. The shadows pulled back, but still the creature lunged, seeking to reclaim its hold. Just when they thought it might consume them, the tree erupted in a brilliant flash of light. The ground around them transformed, the roots curling away from the creature and forming a pulsating barrier. Its eyes shrieked with fury as it was pushed back into the dark recesses of the forest, but not without leaving its mark. Panting, Claire looked at Daniel, the realization hitting hard. What if that wasn't the end? What if it comes back? But before Daniel could answer, the earth beneath them began to settle, and the air thickened with an unfamiliar energy. Then from the depths of the shadows, a faint yet familiar figure emerged. Samuel, his presence shrouded in a halo of shimmering light. "Your journey has just begun," he murmured, his voice barely a whisper against the hushed terror that surrounded them. "What do you mean?" Claire asked, confusion cutting through her heart. But Samuel only smiled, his eyes deep and knowing. The darkest shadows may hide the brightest truths. As he took a step closer, the world around them felt ready to unravel. What other mysteries lay in wait? And what price would they need to pay to uncover the truth? Claire felt a surge of dread wash over her as she stared into Samuel's eyes. They shimmered with secrets and sorrows, reflecting years strung together by unanswered questions. She wanted to ask him everything at once but found her voice lost in the churning fear. "Samuel, what's happening?" Daniel's voice broke through, trembling yet steady. The figure fixed his gaze on Daniel, an old spark lighting his expression. "The creature you faced was only the first. It feeds on your doubts, your deepest fears. But there's more, and it's calling to you both." "Calling? Why?" Claire's heart thudded in her chest, her mind racing through the past moments. "You've already touched the essence of your family's struggles," Samuel whispered, glancing back toward the retreating shadows. "But what lies ahead will demand even more." As he spoke, the ground trembled again, not with the rage of the creature, but with whispers of new challenges. It was a sickening reminder of how easily they could lose everything once more. "Samuel!" Daniel cried out. "Tell us what we need to do. How do we stop it?" "There are paths through the darkness," Samuel said gravely, "but each one reveals a truth about your bond. It demands sacrifice, and the cost might be what you hold most dear." Claire clutched Daniel's hand tighter, panic boiling in her chest. "What do you mean?" "Our bond? The tree binds your lineage, but it also entwines your fates. There are others, those who struggled, those who fell. To face this truth, you'll have to confront the very essence of who you are together," Samuel explained, his voice a mix of warmth and foreboding. "What if we aren't strong enough?" Claire trembled, visions of their past battles flashing in her mind. "What if we lose each other?" The moments of joy and laughter suddenly felt like distant memories, drowned in trepidation. Samuel stepped forward, a soothing presence, and lifted her chin. "Together you've already overcome once. But this journey demands more than courage. It requires absolute trust." Trust. The weight of that word hung heavily in the air. Claire exchanged a worried glance with Daniel, uncertainty reflected in their eyes. "What do we have to do?" Daniel asked, voice steady but strained. "Follow the signs of the tree," Samuel instructed. "You will feel a call and urge to dig deep into the roots of your history. The answers lie hidden below the surface." As Samuel's words settled, Claire felt the vibrations of the earth shift. They were no longer alone in the clearing. A swirling mist began to rise, weaving around them like a living thing. Shapes flickered in and out of existence, wraiths with glimmering eyes drawing closer, their whispering voices echoing their names. "Claire! Daniel!" They beckoned, familiar yet haunting, that a chill ran down Claire's spine. "What do they want?" "They are your past, your ancestors," Samuel replied. "They seek to guide you, but you must be willing to accept their truths." The mist thickened and she could hear the echoes of laughter, the pain of losses gone by. It felt as if her very history was clawing its way to the surface, demanding to be confronted. Daniel's grip tightened on her hand, but she could feel his fear mirrored in every pulse. "What if they bring us more pain?" "Pain can lead to strength," Samuel said softly. "Face what you have ignored, and you might just find the light that's flickering behind the shadows." With trembling determination, Claire looked at Daniel, searching for his strength. "We have to try, don't we?" He nodded, eyes steely with resolve. "Whatever it takes. I won't let you do this alone." The winds howled, swirling the mist higher into a storm of emotions, beckoning them further into the unknown. As the shadows intertwined with the light of the tree, Claire felt her heartbeat sync with the pulse of the clearing. Together they would sink into the depths of their family's past. Yet, in that embrace of history, they would hold on to each other tighter than ever. With a deep breath, Claire spoke to the restless figures surrounding them, her voice filled with newfound courage. "We're ready. Show us." But as the mist engulfed them, a sudden blast of darkness surged forward, the creature's howls rising once again, echoing with a promise of devastation. The path ahead loomed ominously, and Claire couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the edge of a cliff. Would they be able to confront the truths hidden in their past? And as the darkness loomed overhead, would their bond be enough to shield them from what awaited in the depths? Something dangerously profound was coming, and it was hungry for more. The howl sliced through the air, piercing the stillness like a razor. Claire's heart raced as the shadows lunged forward, an inky mass of terror threatening to consume them. She was terrified, but Daniel's grip was a lifeline, a promise that they'd face this together. "Samuel!" Claire shouted, desperation clawing at her throat. She could feel the pull of history, the weight of her ancestors pressing in. But she was losing her grip on reality. "Stay close." Samuel's command cut through the chaos. He stepped forward, shielding them from the encroaching darkness. The air crackled with energy, and Claire could almost see the shimmering outline of the protective barrier he conjured. "Feel the tree's energy," he urged. "It flows through you. Find the roots of your past." With a nod, Claire closed her eyes. She focused on the warm pulse beneath the ground, the ancient whispers intertwining with her heartbeat. Images flooded her mind, laughter-filled gatherings under the very tree they stood beneath, the crushing sorrow of loss, the sacrifices paved by love. The mist thickened, almost tangible now. Claire strained to listen to it, feeling the elderly wraiths wrap around her, their voices a mix of encouragement and warning. "Face us, face the truth," but Daniel's voice pierced through the cacophony of whispers. "Claire, look." He pointed past the shadows, to a shimmering light that flickered in the distance, a memory from long ago that seemed familiar yet distant. "Do you see it?" Claire asked, her voice trembling. "What if it's a trap?" "No," Daniel replied. His eyes shone with determination. "That light, it feels right. It promises clarity amidst the chaos. We have to go toward it." Before Claire could voice her concern, the darkness writhed, shrieking with fury as if it understood their intent and wanted nothing more than to drag them back into despair. With a surge of courage, she squeezed Daniel's hand. "We go together," she declared. "No matter what." As they pushed forward, the figures around them shifted, some trying to pull them back into despair. The air thrummed with tension, voices overlapping in a haunting harmony. "Do not forget sacrifices, trust power." The shadows surged, nightmarish forms lunging at them, hungry for their fear. Claire felt cold tendrils scrape against her skin, a warning of the encroaching hopelessness. "Remember who we are," she cried out, holding tightly to Daniel. Her mind swirled with visions. Their love, their fights, everything they had endured together. "Trust," Daniel echoed. "We can overcome it." Suddenly, a blinding light exploded from the flickering glow ahead, illuminating the mist and shattering the shadows around them. It was like stepping into a new reality, a world washed in warm hues, filled with the laughter of generations. "Welcome," a soft voice called from the brilliance. It was an ethereal figure, a woman, seemingly clothed in light, her features familiar yet timeless. "I am Clara, your guide." "Who are you?" Claire breathed, both awed and terrified. "I am your ancestor," Clara replied, her voice soothing yet echoing with power. "You must hear the stories of your kin. For each tale holds a piece of that which you avoid, a bond that strengthens through understanding. You will face truths that will redefine your very existence." "What truths?" Daniel asked, his voice unwavering but his eyes revealing fear. Clara smiled softly, tilting her head. "The bonds of love and sacrifice run deep. You will confront the pain to find your strength. But beware, the darkness will attempt to ensnare you once more." As she spoke, Claire felt the ground tremble beneath her. The darkness writhed, roaring in resentment, and the coldness sank deeper into her bones. It was a reminder of what they had at stake. "What if we fail?" Claire whispered, vulnerability creeping into her voice. "That choice is not yours to make," Clara said, her radiant smile unwavering. "The path of truth is wrought with challenge, but it also holds unimaginable strength. You must trust each other completely." With that, the light pulsated, inviting them to step closer. But just as Claire felt the pull of hope within reach, a guttural roar erupted behind them, shaking the ground as the creature lunged once again, each hungry breath a reminder of the impending danger. "Are you ready?" Daniel asked, his tone fierce as the darkness radiated threat. In that moment, Clara's heart thundered. She felt the weight of their ancestors upon her, the task ahead cloaked in uncertainty and fear. But perhaps this was the moment they would finally make their stand. Together. she shouted as the shadows converged once more. And the looming horror drew near. Would they be able to embrace the truths waiting in the light and finally conquer the darkness that threatened their very souls? The path twisted ahead, fraught with peril and promise, leaving Claire and Daniel clinging to each other, desperate to find the way forward. But with darkness closing in, a question lingered in the air like smoke. What price would they have to pay to uncover their truest selves? The ground trembled violently as Claire and Daniel stood shoulder to shoulder, the shadows closing in. The roar behind them echoed, a chilling reminder that the darkness was relentless. Claire clenched her fists, and something inside her ignited a flicker of hope colored in dread. Move! Samuel's command rang out, slicing through the chaos. He thrust his arm forward, forming a shimmering barrier that held the darkness at bay, but only momentarily. Claire turned to Clara. Her ancestor's face suddenly seemed to blur, a mix of light and shadow. What do we do? Claire's voice strained under the weight of the impending doom. Embrace the stories, Clara urged. They unleash the strength within you. Honor the sacrifices made by those before you. That will shield your hearts. Daniel's eyes flared with desperation. We need to know what we're fighting against. What does it want from us? A wounding silence followed. Clara stepped closer, her light flickering. Fear. It feeds on fear, on your pain and sorrow. Only through understanding your past can it be vanquished. Then let us do it, Claire said with fierce determination. We will hear their stories. Before she could lose her courage, Clara raised her hands and the air shimmered. Vision after vision cascaded before them, vibrant and alive. Claire saw her ancestors' squatters fighting against nature's wrath. Lovers torn apart by war. Children laughing under the very tree that now stood sentinel over them. Every sacrifice, Claire murmured. The pieces of her family history clicking together like an intricate puzzle. The wind howled, as if the shadows were scrambling to drown out the revelations unfolding before them. They twisted and writhed, attempting to pull Claire and Daniel back into the suffocating dark. Together, Daniel shouted, intertwined with Claire's resolve. We'll face it all, won't we? Yes, Claire echoed, her voice resonating with newfound conviction. With every tale that entered her mind, she felt warmth pour into her heart. The dark tendrils that had once gripped her loosened as their strength grew. The shadows shrieked in fury, angry at the light spreading from Claire and Daniel. Samuel, standing firm, strained at the edges of the barrier, sweat beading on his brow. The darkness can sense your power. You must unleash it, channel the stories. Think of the love, Claire urged Daniel. All the things we've fought for. Our shared moments must fuel this. As they drew together, thoughts of laughter, tears, hopes and dreams flowed between them. A rush of energy sparked from where their hands met, crackling like a storm. The mist thickened, swirling forces tangled and broke apart like bloodied leaves in a tempest. Feel it. Clara's voice was a melodic chant. The strength of your lineage rises within you. In that moment, Claire saw a silhouette forming, crowding at the barrier, eyes glowing with malice. It looked human yet warped, a dark figure with an all-consuming glare. The guardian of their fear. Stand strong, Samuel bellowed, pushing back against the suffocating tide. He turned to Claire and Daniel. This is your fight. No, the figure roared, advancing as shadows fell, lapping hungrily at their ankles. You cannot penetrate the silence of despair. This is city despair. Daniel yelled back, igniting a flame from within. It's love. And love conquers all. With that, Claire and Daniel closed their eyes tightly as the strength from their ancestors wrapped around them. A golden light burst forth, illuminating the darkness in pure vitality. The pressure of the shadows faltered slightly, hesitating in the face of brilliance, but the figure recoiled, power coiling as it gathered itself for a final desperate assault. Foolish children. You don't understand what you awaken. A crack of thunder resonated through the air, shaking them to their core, drawing all the energy of the collective stories into a singular moment. Now, Claire cried. The light amplified, flickering against the tide of shadow, challenging its very essence. Would their powerful collective memory break through the abyss, or would darkness ultimately envelope them in its murmuring embrace? The ground beneath them shook as the boundary between love and despair blurred, teetering on the edge of annihilation. Now, as they braced for the onslaught, they faced the ultimate question. How deeply were they willing to dive into their family's pain to claim their liberation? The ground quaked beneath them, shadows lashing out with desperate fury as the figures of their ancestors loomed in the air like ephemeral guardians. Claire's breath caught in her throat. The presence of the creature behind them was almost overwhelming. It bore the weight of countless lost souls, hungry for fear and sorrow. "We need to push forward," Daniel pressed, his grip around Claire's hand steadying her trembling heart. "This is our moment. We know our history now." Ignoring the growls echoing in the air, Claire squared her shoulders. Memories flooded her mind, the laughter and tears archived in the stories of her family. She felt Daniel's heartbeat sync with hers, a testament to their shared resolve. "Together we can fight this," she breathed, feeling the rush of energy swell within them, igniting like a match struck in the dark. "Embrace the truth," shouted Samuel as the shadowy figure surged toward them, a warped visage of despair and rage. "It cannot hold you if you face what it truly is." Every ounce of fear clawed through Claire as she thought of the sacrifices made by those before her. Each story echoed in her heart, those who had faced darkness before them, abandoned by fear yet bound by love. With Daniel by her side, she drew on their memory, bathing herself in their courage. "Feel the strength," she urged, pouring her heart into the connection between them. The shadows wailed with frustration, swirling around them with venomous intent. "We won, let you take us." Daniel's voice rang out, powerful and fierce, sending tremors through the dark entity. They stepped forward together, arms raised, drawing energy from the tree's ancient roots. Claire felt the rush, the pulse of every ancestor who had stood against the darkness. They channeled their strength, refusing to be swallowed by despair. "Our love transcends your fear," Claire shouted, and as those words left her lips, light erupted from within them, a vibrant glow that shattered the shadows around them. The darkness convulsed, stumbling as their combined force surged against the serpent of shadow. The creature's roar reached a deafening crescendo, a mix of fury and desperation. Flashes of light illuminated the forest, revealing ghastly faces twisted by greed and anguish. "Blast it away. This is for all of us," Daniel yelled, locking eyes with Claire. They lifted their hands high, weaving a tapestry of radiant light that spiraled from their union. The whispers of their ancestors grew louder, each voice blending into a harmonious chant of defiance. "Through love we grow, through pain we soar." They chanted together, their voices intertwined with the chorus rising from the tree. The energy blossomed, radiating toward the creature with unstoppable force. It was a wave of light that surged like a rising tide, ready to engulf the darkness once and for all. With a blinding flash, the shadows recoiled as if burned. The figure lurched backward. Howls of rage pierced the night, but it was losing its grip. Light enveloped the clearing, wrapping around their bodies, fueling the warmth of hope and love as they pushed the darkness further. "But you cannot erase what is woven into the fabric of time," the creature screeched, panic rising in its voice. "You do not know the cost of your defiance. We know exactly what we're fighting for." Claire yelled back, fire in her heart. "We stand together against despair, against darkness, because that is what love demands." In that moment, the power between Claire and Daniel erupted, a magnificent force that cut through the suffocating void. The shadows faltered, retreating as if the very light had become a weapon. With one final desperate shriek, the creature dissipated into a mist of nightmares, faded back into the abyss from which it had been born. Breathless and drenched in warmth, a profound silence ensued. The forest felt different, lighter, as if the shadows had been shaken free from the tapestry of their histories. Claire turned to Daniel, their hearts still racing but now unchained. "Did we do it?" she whispered, the weight of impending terror lifting. Samuel stepped forward through the clearing, a proud smile on his face. "What you accomplished tonight is only the beginning. By embracing your past, you drew strength from it. Love triumphed over fear, and for that the darkness cannot return." They were met with the quiet rustle of leaves as if the forest itself rejoiced, celebrating the revival of lost connections and the release of ancient burdens. Daniel took Clara's hand and held her close, a contented smile blooming as they turned to the luminous tree that had witnessed their transformation. "I couldn't have done this without you," he whispered. "And I without you," Claire replied, tears of joy blurring her vision. "Whatever comes next, we will face it together." The roots beneath them rumbled, a welcoming embrace reminding them of their intertwined destinies. They would walk forth from this night not just as survivors but as bearers of stories, ready to embrace whatever tales the universe would unveil. The air was fresh and filled with endless possibilities as they stepped away from the glimmering clearing. Hand in hand, Claire stole one last glance behind, knowing their love created a light that could never be extinguished. Remember, this is only the beginning. If you love this conclusion and want to keep experiencing more incredible stories like this, you need to subscribe now. Smash that like button before you go, it really helps the channel. And don't forget to flood the comments with your thoughts, reactions, and theories about what happens next. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this conclusion. Don't wait even one more second. Your support means everything to us.